Recording in progress.
Good evening, everybody. I will call this meeting into session, and if you could please join me for the flag salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. All right, if we could do roll call, please.
Commissioner Amon?
Here.
Commissioner Doris?
Here.
Commissioner Halley?
Here.
Vice Chair Nichols?
Here.
Chair Kine?
Here. Thank you very much, Stephen. So I will move on to oral comments from the public. These comments are to be only related to things other than what is on the agenda today. So if there's anybody who would like to speak, please come up to the podium now. Seeing nobody in the chamber, is there anybody on? Oh, I'm sorry. Would you? Not on the agenda this evening. This is, yeah. Is there anybody currently online?
No one online at the moment.
Okay, well then I will close public comment. Moving on to the consent calendar, we will be reviewing the minutes from our September 9th, 2025 meeting. I'll ask for motions unless anybody has any concerns about the minutes.
I'll make a motion to accept the Planning Commission minutes from the meeting September 9th, 2025.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, hearing none. Motion has passed. We will be now moving on to current planning business. This item refers to the approval of a conditional use permit for an accessory structure with a proposed height of 26 feet, which exceeds the zoning code standards of 15 feet maximum height. Resolution P-2025-3139. And I will ask our senior planner, Katie, to do the presentation. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you. Give me one moment to get this. Okay. The project today, the applicant is Dr. Joseph Ortola, and the project is on Elizabeth Farkas Way. We are going to be reviewing a conditional use permit. The public hearing is for Resolution P-2025-3139, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna approving a conditional use permit for a 1,728 square foot accessory structure with a proposed height of 26 feet that exceeds the minimum height limits. The subject parcel is a 1.22 acre parcel located on the north side of Elizabeth Farkas Way near the intersection with Sunrise Court in a developed residential area. And the graphic here shows the parcel, subject parcel. You can see that it is surrounded by developed residential parcels, rather large lots. The parcel is developed with an existing 2,172 square foot single-family residence and a 747 square foot attached garage. The proposed accessory structure would be located in the northwest corner of the parcel, roughly where this blue square is located. The applicant is proposing to construct a 1,728 square foot detached accessory structure with a proposed height of 26 feet, which exceeds the 15-foot accessory building height limit allowed in the residential zone. And these are elevations of the proposed structure. You can see the deck that would be on the north side of the structure facing what is currently a vacant pasture parcel, and the entryway to the structure that would also lead to the second-story accessory dwelling unit. The structure will include hobby space on the first floor and an internal 1,164 square foot, two-bedroom, two-bath accessory dwelling unit on the second story. The project includes construction of 2 new paved parking spaces for the accessory structure and the ADU, and parking will be accessed by an existing paved driveway. The inclusion of the accessory dwelling unit allows for the utilization of a reduced setback to 4 feet at the side property line in lieu of the required 6-foot setback for zone RE20 residential estates B4 overlay. Section 17.03.010, the residential estates zoning district. You can see here the subject parcel in the northern side of that zoning district, the RE20. The subject parcel and the surrounding area are zoned residential estates with a minimum lot size of 20,000 square feet and a B4 overlay. The B4 overlay allows for a reduced side yard minimum setback of 6 feet and a maximum setback of 30 feet, provided a minimum distance of 20 feet between homes on adjoining lots. The standard for RE20 without the B4 overlay would be a 15-foot setback. Zoning Code Section 17.03.010E deals with height regulations and states that no principal building shall exceed 30 feet in height, and no accessory building shall exceed 15 feet in height, except as provided for in FMC 17.05.070. That section deals mainly with church spires and the like. Exceptions to the height standard for an accessory building allowing a maximum height of 30 feet may be granted through a use permit, which is why we are all here today. Zoning Code Section 17.06.001.5 pertains to accessory dwelling units, and this proposed 1,160 square foot ADU complies with the maximum size limit of 1,200 square feet as outlined in the zoning code. They will be required to obtain an ADU permit because it is larger than 800 square feet, but that is an administrative permit that will be issued in conjunction with the building permit. Zoning Code Section 17.07.060C states that a use permit shall be approved or approved with conditions by the authorized hearing officer if, based upon information provided by the applicant, specific findings are made. And those findings are shown here in the graphic. Project-specific findings may be referenced in Exhibit A to Resolution P-2025-3139. And we did find that the project is compliant with these specific findings. The general plan density is residential very low, and the proposed project, including the accessory dwelling unit, is consistent with the parcel's general plan land use designation of residential very low, as the RVL designation provides for single-family detached homes with secondary residential units, public and quasi-public uses, and similar and compatible uses adjacent to the city limits. Accessory dwelling units are considered accessory uses and are excluded from density calculations. So it's not increasing any density for that land use designation. The environmental review, the project is subject to environmental review in accordance with California Environmental Quality Act and qualifies for Class 3 and Class 32 exemptions from CEQA. Class 3, Section 15303 covers new construction or conversion of small structures, and Class 32, Section 15332 covers infill development projects. And again, More information can be referenced in the staff report. Today's Planning Commission action, the Planning Commission should receive staff presentation and review commission questions with staff, open the public hearing and receive public comment, close the public hearing, and motion to adopt Resolution P-2025-3139, read by title only, which does the following: finds the conditional use permit complies with the Fortuna Municipal Code and the Fortuna General Plan, and approves the conditional use permit subject to the requirements in Attachment 1. And that's my presentation for today. I will turn it back over to Chair Kine.
All right. Thank you, Katie. I appreciate that. At this time, I'd like to give the applicant or their representative an opportunity to speak if they are here or would like to, or if they're on the phone. Anybody in the chamber? Please state your name and your relationship to the project.
Hi there, my name's Donald Cleek. I designed the building and drew the plans. I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of background on the process that we went through to arrive at what's in front of us today. We did attempt a one-story design to work within the height limitations, and it wasn't getting the square footage that the owner was hoping to get as a result of this project. And so this was kind of our second pass at it, and we did try to be as sensitive as we could in terms of making sure that we match the existing style and character of the existing house, and that the second floor is not a full second floor. We tried to bring the plate height down and kind of make the second floor area cut out of the roof area, which is how the existing house looks. So it has kind of a steep roof that takes off from, you know, a lower level, and then there's some dormers and some pop outs and things that get you the square footage at the second level. We also tried to make sure that we matched the existing color and quality material that's on the existing house so that it would blend in and hopefully not look like an obvious addition. One other component that we looked at was, while the ADU is allowed to have a 4-foot setback, there's a lot of fire restrictions that come into play with the building code when you do that. It also makes that addition loom over the property line a little bit more. Even the 6-foot setback felt maybe a little too close, even though we did have the 20-foot required separation from the building on the adjacent parcel. I think what we're presenting today has about an 8-foot setback, and we felt like that was kind of a good balance to get the owner what they felt they needed and also, you know, be sensitive to the neighbors. So the topography of the area, the site directly to our north would probably be the one that would have most interest in a view corridor, and the way that the land slopes, the building site for the property to the north would be significantly higher than the roof of this proposed design. So it should not interfere with any view corridors to the property to the north. So I think those were all things that we thought about and took into consideration before bringing this design forward, and I just want to make sure everybody's aware of what went into it. So that's pretty much it. Any questions of me while I'm here?
Not at the moment, but if any arise, will you be available to come up?
Absolutely.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
All right. Then moving on, I would like to open public comment. And first, I will be going to staff to see if there's any comments that came in either via mail or email.
Yes, Chair Kine, we do have 3 that came from the public. May I please read these into the record?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Thank you. The first public comment states, "Thank you for informing me of the proposed changes that my neighbor would like to make to his property, APN 200-481-013. A 3,000 square foot ADU is huge, exclamation point. I feel that the 25 feet tall is too tall. There are a few other options I feel would create much less negative impact to our residential estate neighborhood. 1, how about the 1730 square foot craft room being built as a basement? This would allow the second story to stay under the existing height requirement. Very wet in Fortuna for a basement. 2, the first floor has a 10-foot ceiling. If this was lowered to 8 feet and the second story was also 8 feet, you would be only 1 foot over the maximum height. That saves you 9 feet. And yes, you still need a roof. 3, how about scaling it back to a single-story building if there is not enough room to allow for the desired square footage at this location on the property? Perhaps it could be built closer to the existing homes, deck, and out towards the other fence line along Sunrise Court. 4, changes to the setback should not be allowed if the ADU is allowed. There needs to be some type of planting for privacy. Nothing in your aerial photos is current. This homeowner has recently had several days of tree removal. Any vegetation that would keep the privacy has been removed. Also, the homeowner directly to the west of this property removed several of the trees in November 2023 that you can show in the aerial photos. Your information states that there are adequate plantings for privacy and no negative impacts. This is not current. Please come out and take a look. Do not rely on Google Maps. For fire safety, there needs to be adequate space between the plants and the dwellings, and of course, the planting should not be allowed directly at the fence line, as this will require the neighbors to have to deal with any vegetation that grows through their fence. Our HOA does not allow us to have solid fencing. 5, this request for 2 dedicated paved parking spaces. Elizabeth Barkus does not have sidewalks on our streets. There is no parking on our sides of streets either. I have no idea that the intended purpose of the master suite, if it's for full-time living, 2 additional spots may not be adequate. If there is 1 adult in each room, it may be only 2 cars. However, if there is a couple in each room, that might bring 4 cars. And lastly, 6, many cities required to erect the footprint of the building as well as the height using the bright orange plastic fencing. When this is done, it gives you a true picture of the new dwelling we'll have on the neighborhood. I would like the City of Fortuna require property owners to do this as part of their requirements. Sure, it gives you a true picture of what will be before it is in closing. I would also like to mention that the diagram that was mailed to our home was not legible. I was not able to take a photo on Zoom, and it seemed really blurry. Yeah. So that's the first one. Second one, to the Fortuna Planning Commission on the conditional use permit for ADU, the APN that we're talking about right now. Thank you for the cover letter sent with key information about the potential development in our neighborhood. Please, next time you issue a similar notice, list the street address of the property in question in bold letterings so it can be easily found. Currently, the address is only located on the site map. We have several concerns about the proposed ADU and would like to let you know. 1, is the downstairs of the unit going to be a craft room, as stated in the proposal, or is going to be a shop, as the site plan calls it, or is it going to be potentially be changed into living space after the permit is issued? If it will be a shop or a craft room, what volume of noise will it produce? Will it be used for commercial purposes in the residential neighborhood? 2, the previous homeowner found a natural spring in the backyard. Has a groundwater survey been completed? 3, there is only 1 street, Elizabeth Barkus Way, into the neighborhood and to the property in question. We are concerned about the potential increase in traffic. 4, is the Planning Commission aware that there is an existing building in the backyard of the house in question that is not shown on the site map? 5, the neighboring home will have both their morning sunshine and their views of the pasturing lands blocked by a 26-foot tall building 4 feet from the property line. 6, there is an active HOA in the neighborhood. Do they have any input on the construction of ADUs? 7, we feel that the balcony as designed would violate Fortuna zoning laws, specifically H3, which refers to the distance a second-story balcony must be from the property side. In conclusion, we strongly urge you to consider the details of this ADU and reject the application. We would not be opposed to an ADU that followed all the current zoning laws. And the last public comments, Fortuna Planning Commission. I am writing this in response to the letter I also received informing the planning commissioners of this meeting on October 14th. I am a homeowner on Elizabeth Barkus Way, and I have several thoughts and concerns I would like to bring up. 1, our neighborhood HOA states that all properties is single-family use only. Article VII, Section 1. The state of California may overrule the HOA on this, but given the zoning title residential estate, it seems allowing an adjacent rental unit within the neighborhood will degrade everyone's estate property value. I know the plan includes 2 additional parking spaces on Dr. Wartola's property, but Elizabeth Barkus Way is a narrow street with no parking on one side of it. In today's world, a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment could be rented to 2 couples, bringing 4 additional vehicles to the neighborhood on a permanent basis. There is a bound to be issue as the HOA does not allow overnight parking on the street, Article VII, Section 18. Dr. Joe's initial intended use may or may not be of consequence, but a change of ownership in the future has to be considered. 2, any variances allowed are degrading the estate nature of the neighborhood. Putting a residence 3 to 4 feet from the property line is really encroaching on the neighbors next door. Add to the mix a 26-foot tall dwelling with second-story balcony is taking away someone's privacy. Another HOA rule is no solid fencing, making dwelling placement and landscaping critical to ensure some privacy. It seemed strange when Dr. Joe removed a row of young cypress trees the previous owner had planted to enhance privacy where the ADU is planned. It makes sense now. 3, there is plenty of space on the other side of the existing residence of this ADU. If an addition is allowed, it would be present on the northeast side of the existing home. It might not be aesthetic to Dr. Joe to have this rental unit adjacent to the back of his property, but it kind of supports why his neighbors might not be so appealing right on the property line. 4, privacy and fire hazard. The insurance company pushes for defensible space. Considering we live in a forest environment, more and more residences are being made to harden their properties by following defensible space rules and around their homes. This means removing trees and shrubs in specific locations, the 5-foot zone, the 30-foot zone, etc. I personally pay more because the shed that was built when the house was built with the concrete foundation and slab 4 is within 30 feet of the house. Adding an ADU is such tight proximity to the existing home as well as the neighbor's home is sure to be considered. Lastly, there is a lot to be said, but without knowing the exact intended use, it's hard to provide much further argument. Most new property owners in Rancho Buena Vista 3 are not very aware of the HOA here. As already stated, it is intended as a single-family residence. The rules prohibit running a business on the residential properties, Article VII, Section 8. Even if the number of pets were allowed, could be issued multifamily residences on one property, Article VI, Section 6. I realize that most of this is not directly the city's problem. I am hoping by writing this, it helps the Planning Commission to make a sound decision that puts the best interests of the neighborhood. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard. Thank you for the opportunity to be heard at this time. And that is it for written public comments.
All right, thank you, Stephen. I greatly appreciate that. So since public comment is currently open, I wanted to ask you, is there anybody currently online who would like to speak?
There is currently no one online who would like to speak.
Okay. Then I will open it up to the chamber. If there's anybody here who would like to make public comment on this project, you may step forward and you'll have 3 minutes for each commenter.
Hello, Planning Commission. My name's Kyle Bigham. I am the resident at 981 Elizabeth Barkus Way, which is his direct neighbor to the west, or to the west of that property. And I would just like to express my concerns about the privacy that I will have at my property with a 30-foot or a 26-foot building in the backyard. That's 4 feet from my property line. I want to first start with the bullet point here on number 1, the second bullet point. Those aerial images from Google Maps are not accurate. November of 2023, I removed all of the trees on that property line. So outside of a few little shrubs, there is no discernible cover or anything between my house and his house. So there's nothing to address any sort of privacy on that point, and I don't see the reason why I have to address it on my side to gain back the privacy that I should have. Secondly, the bedrooms, especially the one I occupy, face north. And so every time I wake up, every time I go about my day, I'm going to see a big building in the backyard. I don't see why it has to be roughly the same size as his primary residence. I'm not opposed to having an ADU on the property. It's just being that tall is really going to be an eyesore, and it's going to be an effect, definitely an effect on my my privacy. and my comfort. And that's one reason why I bought into this area, is just sort of the estate feel, the quietness, and that is going to change if this goes through and it's allowed to be at the height that it is. That's all I want to say.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sharon, and I live at 1033, so I am 2 houses to the west, and Kyle lives in between me. And I'm glad he mentioned that, because I did find the aerial online, and it was quite concerning. I know Kyle's hours are way different than typical hours, so I'm glad to see him here this evening. I took that, and I said to him on text, I said, hey, wait, November 2023, and he goes, yeah, that's it. So all 4 of them on my side that were 70-plus foot tall came down along Kyle and my share side, and on the other side, 3 more came down. So there's 2 rows that are completely missing from there. And I don't really know when that report was put together, because I've been out of town for some medical. I just got home, the letter was waiting in my mailbox. I will say that the most concerning part for me is just that it's a Google map that's been used, and I think for something of this nature, somebody needs to go out there and take a look, because, and I'm going to go with the last 4, 6, maybe 8 weeks, everything on Dr. Joe's side of his fence, on the upper part of the fence where the footprint would be and where it goes, that's the west, going up towards the back and to the east. He has removed all of that with utilizing a big tree service for a couple days on the west side, and then about a week later, another couple days along the back fence. I've got nothing against the ADU. I worked in manufacturing housing after a 30-year career at a phone company, and I know about setbacks, and 4 feet is way too close. We have chain link fences. We can't put anything up there. So now if you're going to require him to go plant something back in there, how is it going to grow without growing through his fence, where he's got the issue of having to go and trim it all down? Then you got the fire safety. There's just a lot of things. It's way too big. Again, I'm not against it at all. We all need to have space for our families to come and visit. If we have elderly parents or maybe kids coming home from college, we have a reason. It's just not the right size for the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Evening.
Evening. My name's Brad Carroll. I live at 745 Elizabeth Barkus Way. My parents' home, now my home, have been there 30 years. I don't know if you're familiar with Buena Vista Park Estates up there, but it's behind Newburgh, up in the hill, and it's a beautiful area. And one of the things that makes it beautiful is that we all have big half-acre lots, single-family homes. The privacy is incredible, and that's what makes it so beautiful. The deer that come through and all the other animals, and just the quietness. And lately, they just started to build a home on the beginning of 740, or of Elizabeth Barkus coming up the hill. That has taken 5 years. So that's a long time of trucks coming up, and cement trucks, graders, all the things, the dirt coming in. It takes forever to get anything built. And something of this size, I think you're setting a precedent for everybody to say, hey, maybe I'll build one in the back of my yard. I certainly could. I have a big enough yard to do it. And then what happens? We start renting out to renters, which is a different, whole thing. So I oppose it. I don't think it's a good idea that we allow for that up there. It just changes the whole landscape and what we all love about that area. So really consider what he's doing. I mean, he's already got one additional. And building aquariums and whatever you might build out there, that's fine, as long as they're small and not big and not people living in them. So I just hope that it doesn't happen. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anybody else in the chamber who would like to speak?
Good evening. My name is Henry Corwin. I live at 301 Franklin Avenue. And I kind of agree with what the last gentleman said about trucks and people coming up there with loads. I was told the house that's being built below my house, I would not be able to see their roof. I see into their bedrooms. So people lie, and they do things after the fact. You guys pass the laws, they do whatever they darn please. So for the whole neighborhood's best interest, we should really consider things that people that are doing in our neighborhood. That is a beautiful neighborhood, a beautiful area, and we want to keep it that way. But when people are building 26-foot things above the law and 4 feet from the wall, that's ridiculous. You do that in Southern California, you don't do it here. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak?
Yes. First of all, my name is Joseph Ortola, and the ADU that's proposed is not 3,000.
Sir, real quick, you're welcome to speak on public comment.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No. You're welcome to speak if you would like to. You'll have an opportunity to speak again through the questions. So I didn't want to have to waste your time on this one.
Good evening. My name is Woody Murphy. I live at 3550 Nelson Road. I'm an adjacent landowner here on this property, and I'll be looking down on this structure for the rest of my days here. And as far as I'm concerned, I have no problem with it. I think if it's permitted and he builds it as it is permitted, fine and dandy. So I have no problems with it. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, sir. What road did you say you lived on?
Pardon me?
What road did you say you lived on?
No.
3550 Nelson?
Nelson. Okay, thank you. Okay. Is there anyone else who would like to make public comment before I close? Okay, seeing none, I will close public comment and bring it back to the commission. Please remember that you have the opportunity to speak directly to the applicant if you have any questions, and he will be allowed to speak again in a moment.
I have a question of the applicant.
Okay.
Sir, did you collaborate with any neighbors at all? Like talk to anybody?
Please come up.
No.
And you might want to stay just because there might be a couple questions.
Yes, my name is Joseph Ortola, and I did speak to the president of the HOA. He came and saw my property on Thursday of last week, and he just mentioned that bring this forth between to the HOA, and that there's an architectural planning commission that we can go through. But he says if you want to, you can approach the planning commission first, and then present it to the HOA. And I said, okay, that's fine, because we have a meeting on Tuesday. And I said, okay, from there we'll proceed. Regarding the size of the ADU, it's not 3,000 square feet like somebody mentioned. It's going to be less than 1,200 square feet, 1,162. Regarding the adjacent property, it's not a 4-foot setback like was mentioned. It's actually an 8-foot setback. And I plan to put tall Italian junipers between the house and the adjacent property to act as a screen to provide some privacy. And regarding the balcony faces backward to Woody Murphy's property. And he's at a much higher elevation. When he looks down, he'll see over the top of the roof. Regarding the secondary structure that they say that's on the property, it's a shed. It's not a concrete slab like somebody mentioned. It's on pods, and it's a shed. So that was incorrect also. And the ADU, it's going to have its own private separate entrance. It's going to have its own meter. It's not going to be part of the existing lower structure, the craft room. And as far as the parking concerned, there's not going to be any parking in the street. If you can notice, and I'll show you some pictures, the driveway is extensively long. There's plenty of room for parking. When you look from the street, looking back toward the property, you wouldn't even be able to see the structure because there's trees and bushes and everything in the way, and it's so completely obscured. You wouldn't even notice that it's there. And I agree with the neighbor, and yes, I haven't had a chance to talk to him because he's been in and out, but I do plan on putting a screen back where it was. The screen that was there was some, there was a beetle bark problem with it, and they were getting infected on the top, so I wanted to remove those, and they were becoming way too wide. So I wanted to get something that was more narrow, like Italian junipers that can grow straight, and put many of them along the path. And that would completely obscure any kind of, any problems with privacy. That's basically it for right now, yes.
I do have a question for you if you're still here. You had mentioned that you were going to be putting in a meter.
Yes.
Does that infer that you're planning on
For
doing it
the
as a rental or
For the
vacation?
For the ADU.
Okay, yeah, I know,
Yeah.
but are you planning on? Okay. Okay, are you planning it for family use, a vacation, short-term rental?
No, currently my cousin wants to actually live there with us.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, thank you.
yeah.
Does anybody on the commission have any other questions for the
I
permit holder
have
or for
one.
staff?
I have one for Dr. Otola. So if we approve your use permit today, and then you go to your HOA meeting on Tuesday, and they don't approve it,
We haven't set up a time yet. They wanted me to come here first this
Okay.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
We're here,
Oh,
and then we're going to get together, yes.
and you think that they're going to approve it then?
I believe so, because he looked at the property, he says, I don't see any objections to this, I don't see any problem with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
This question is for Katie. He had mentioned that he was planning on putting in a screen junipers. Is there a way to condition that those get placed as soon as possible? You know, obviously, construction would have to happen first. We don't want to damage the trees or anything like that or hinder roots growth. But is there a way to condition that as soon as, say, the occupancy license goes through or something along those lines, those trees have to go in ASAP because we know how long it might take for trees to grow?
Yes, the planning commission can add that as a condition to the resolution.
Does anybody else have any other questions or concerns? And we also have our building official here if anybody has any questions for him when it comes to code or anything like that. Okay, well then I will call for a motion if anybody would like to make a motion on this project.
I will make a motion for Resolution P-2025-3139 to be approved of use permit with conditions of junipers as a screen. Is that okay? As-
Yeah, as the time, yeah, we can add that timeline,
Okay.
yeah. Okay, do I have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, then I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Chair Kine, just before I do the roll call vote, I just want to clarify the condition that you guys are adding in, which is screen junipers as soon as an occupancy goes through or as soon as possible.
Yes.
Yeah, basically to
Okay.
promote the growth, you know, because obviously.
Sweet, thank you. Resolution P-2025-3139, a resolution of the Planning Commission of the City of Fortuna approving a conditional use permit for a 1,728 square foot accessory structure in total with a proposed height of 26 feet that exceeds the minimum height limit, with an amendment of screen and junipers as soon as an occupancy goes through or as soon as possible. Commissioner Amon?
Yes.
Commissioner Doris?
No.
Commissioner Halley?
Yes.
Vice Chair Nichols?
Yes.
Chair Kine?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, thank you much, Stephen. All right, then moving on to our next order of business, which would be staff communications.
Thank you, Chair Kine. We've been discussing our scheduling for the remaining Planning Commission meetings for the year. So we should have one more meeting for October, and then likely one in November and one in December, as per usual. I think the last meeting of each month will likely be canceled due to a lack of quorum. We don't generally have a quorum for those, so if everybody wants to get their schedules updated for that. The Community Development Department's been busy as usual, and we are excited that we will be welcoming our new building inspector on Monday to be onboarded and start his training with us.
I'm very excited to hear that. That's great news.
Does anybody have any questions? Okay.
I just wanted to check in on the mill site projects, just making sure things are, potentially moving along, if there's been any communications with the property owner.
I haven't had any communication with the property owner. I have had one inquiry from a potential business, just some very basic questions regarding signage, but still a potential business. Nothing super exciting, but, and nothing definitive, but, I'm sure that the property owner, I know that they are still marketing pretty heavily. So hopefully there are things in the works that we will learn down the road.
Okay.
I just wanted to comment on the front. It looks really nice. I don't know. The front's changed.
Oh, yes.
I like it.
Oh, thank you.
If nobody has any other questions or comments, I'll ask for a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we be done.